continue in the will of the Most High God. Back to 1 John 4 and 4. 1 John 4 and 4.
The book of 1 John chapter 4 verse 4.
Mm-hmm.
Ye are of the Most High,
Mm-hmm.
little children, and have overcome them.
Right?
Because greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world.
Who's in us? Yahweh. Who's in the world?
The devil.
The devil. Greater is Yahweh that's in you than the devil that's in the world. Go ahead.
They are of the world.
They are what?
They are of the world.
Read on.
Therefore speak they of the world.
Go ahead.
And the world heareth them.
Go ahead.
We are of the Most High.
We are who?
We are of the Most High.
We have to be of the Most High. Go ahead.
He that knoweth the Most High heareth us.
Mm-hmm.
He that is not of the Most High heareth not us.
Right.
Hereby know we the spirit of truth and the spirit of error.
And the spirit of error. So we cannot continue to walk in error. Right? So we know what we have to do. We are that world. We know we have to get right. We have to keep these commands. Right? We can't be standing between two opinions. We gotta make a decision. Right? If Yahweh be your God, if he's your Lord, if he's your ruler, walk after him. Right? Don't be second guessing. Don't question. Don't be double-minded in your spirit. Just walk after him. Right? It's not that difficult. People make it like it's so hard. It's not that hard to keep God's commandments. Right? Thou shalt not. How hard is that? How hard is it not to eat swine's flesh? Is it really that difficult? Right? Are you struggling with pork ham, shrimp, and lobster? Right? Is it that hard? Right? His commands are not that difficult. Right? Keep the Sabbath day holy. Do these things. Listen. Don't have envy, strife, malice in your heart. If you find it coming on you, get rid of it. Right? Rebuke yourself. Correct yourself. Right? It's not that difficult. Put on your fringes and your borders. Right? I mean, you could go down to Joy Fabrics, you go to the tailor, they can sew it all for you. You can get it done. It's not that hard. Right? Be amongst your brothers and sisters. They got people there that will help you out. The Most High have the support systems in place. They got little sanctuary. He said it'd be on to us in the last days as a little sanctuary. There's little sanctuaries like this all over. Get with your brothers and your sisters that's keeping Torah. Right? Don't harp on the differences. Harp on the commonalities. Community is what? Common unity. Right? Harp on the things that's common amongst you and get these commandments done. Right? Get comfortable in serving Yah and living according to the word of the Heavenly Father. Right? There should be no struggle in your spirit come our Thanksgiving and Christmas and all these things. Is that so hard not to do? You know what makes that hard not to do? Because you're not keeping Hanukkah. If you ain't keeping Hanukkah, then it might be a little difficult not to keep Thanksgiving. Why? Because you leave a void. Right? But if you're busy getting ready for the Hanukkah, you ain't got time for Thanksgiving. Right? You ain't got time for Christmas if you're preparing for Purim. Right? You ain't got time for Easter if you're preparing for Passover. Does everybody understand that? You wrapped up in what's right. You don't have time for that which is wrong. You don't got time for the error. Right? That's extra. You don't have the time, money, resources to give over to the error. When you give them all over to righteousness. Right? If you're already here on Saturday, you ain't going to get up tomorrow and want to go to the Catholic Church on Sunday morning. You was already here all day on Saturday. You need some time. You need time to get some things done. Right? So this is just wisdom of don't leave that void. As you take things out, put things in. As you stop doing one thing, start doing something else. So that you continually are moving in the ways of the Most High God. All right, let's get the portion. Let's go to Genesis 25, verse 19. Genesis 25, verse 19. Okay.
Genesis 25 and 19. book of Genesis chapter 25, verse 19. And these are the generations of Isaac, Abraham's son. Abraham begat Isaac, and Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife,
Right.
the daughter of Bethuel, the Syrian, and Padan of Padan Aram, the sister of Laban, the Syrian. And Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife, because she was barren, and the Most High entreated of him. And Rebekah his wife conceived.
And Rebekah, his wife, did what?
Conceived.
Right. So he entreated the Lord, meaning when he prayed to the Most High, and Rebekah, his wife, conceived. Right? So, how does, come on, it might be a little, how does conception come across? How does that happen? Right? Conception is when a man and a woman come together and a baby is conceived. Right? There is no other way of conception. Right? The angels that he went and entreated with did not impregnate Rebekah any more than they impregnated Mary. Right? Neither one. Right? When you go to the Most High, you are granted the blessing. But you still have to do the works here that bring forth children, right? Give me Wisdom of Solomon, 7th chapter. In the Apocrypha, Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 7, verse 1.
The book of Wisdom of Solomon, the Red Apocrypha, page 61. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 7, verse 1. I myself also am a mortal man, like to all, and the offspring of him that was first made of the earth.
Right.
And in my mother's womb was fashioned to be flesh in the time of 10 months, being compacted in blood of the seed of man, and the pleasure that came with sleep.
Right.
And when I was born, I drew in the common air, and fell upon the earth, which is of like nature. And the first voice which I uttered was crying,
Right.
as all others do.
As what?
As all others do.
If anybody has another entrance into this world, is there another entrance into this world? Other than through conception, pregnancy, and being born. There's no other entrance. That's how you get here. That's how you put on flesh. That's how you put on a body. You must be born through your father and mother, right? And you have to be, in your first words that you uttered was crying, right? Because everybody comes in the same way. Hallelujah?
Hallelujah.
Read on.
I was nourished in swaddling clothes, that was with cares.
Right?
For there is no king that had any other beginning of birth.
There is no other beginning of birth. That is it. We all come one way into this world. All right, let's go back to Genesis. All right, you can read it.
For all men have one entrance into life, and the life going out.
Right, so we have one way in, right, and there's one way out. How do we leave out of this life? You gotta die, you gotta give the ghost, right? The flesh and the spirit gotta be separated. That's how we leave. So we're in one way, out one way, right? Don't let anybody fool you, dupe you into anything else, right? This is how this is done, right? Let's go back.
Genesis chapter 25, verse 21.
Yep.
And Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife.
So Isaac went to pray for the Most High because his wife was barren. She could not conceive children. Right? They were trying and she would not get pregnant. Right?
Because she was barren. And the Most High was entreated of him.
Right?
And Rebekah his wife conceived.
So they continued trying, and then the Most High said, hey, he made the womb fruitful. Right?
And the children struggled together within her.
Right?
And she said, if it be so, why am I thus?
Right, so he said, the Most High blessed me to get pregnant. Why am I going through this? Why are these children struggling in my womb? Could you imagine you had two babies fighting in the womb? That could be quite uncomfortable, to say the least, right? Right? One baby moving around too much, y'all be ready to pass out. Right? Two of them in there struggling is a problem. Right? So she said, if I'm supposed to get the children, why am I going through all this pain? You know?
And the children struggled together within her, and she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of the Lord.
Now she went to pray unto the Most High. Go ahead.
And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb.
What's in her womb?
2 nations are in thy womb.
So these babies are not regular babies. When I say they're not regular, meaning that they are the progenitors of nations. Not every time a child is born are they a progenitor of a nation. Right? There's many children born. They're not progenitors of nations. But in this case, these children, nations was going to come out of these children. Right? Both of them were the fathers of 2 separate nations. So when she went to ask, why am I going through so much pain? He said, because these 2 children aren't the same. They're not of the same people. So that what? They're warring in her womb. Right? Read on.
And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels.
And 2 manner of people. What is somebody's manner? What is that referring to? Their ways. Right? You say your manners, right? You say you got manners? That's your ways. There's 2 manner of people. These people will act different. They are different. They're not the same. Right? They keep trying to tell us everybody's the same. Is everybody the same? No. That's clear everybody's not the same. Right? They try to mix us all together here in America and try to make us the same. But even in that mixture, we're still not the same. Right? We don't do anything the same. Have you had macaroni and cheese from white people? You know that's just something totally different.
Sound
It's just not the same. Right? It's not the same. We do things differently. Right? Because our manner is different. Right? We feel different, we taste different, we think different, and we have to embrace those differences. Instead of trying to make the Most High a liar, how about we know that man is a liar? Right? Give me Romans 3 and 3. Romans 3 and 3.
The book of Romans chapter 3, verse 3. For what if some did not believe?
Mm-hmm.
Shall their unbelief make the faith of the Most High without effect?
Right?
Most High forbid.
Yeah.
Yea, let the Most High be true, but every man a liar.
Right. Let the Most High be true, but every man is a liar. Because they will tell you in a heartbeat, oh, we all bleed red, we all the same, we all looking for the same things, right? When you talk about you different, they're going to say that what? Oh, you racist, right? Something wrong with you. What do you mean you different? We're all the same people. What's another one they say? We all put on our pants one leg at a time. Right? They come with all these analogies. But the Bible said, 2 manner of people shall come forth out of Rebecca. The Bible says that we're not the same. So who are you going to listen to? Right? It makes sense for us to listen to the scriptures. Listen to what the Lord said and not what man said. All right, let's go back to Genesis. Um, 23. 25, 23.
Genesis chapter 25, verse 23. And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels.
Right.
And the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger.
Right. So one of these people are going to be stronger than the other people. So there's some nations, are all nations created equal?
No.
That's another lie they tell us, right? And the people that say that, they don't even believe that. Right? But that's another lie we heard. All nations are created equal. No, they're not. He said one people shall be stronger than the other people, and it's the destiny that the elders shall serve the younger. Read on.
And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled,
So she did her 10 months. Go ahead.
behold, there were twins in her womb.
Uh-huh.
And the first came out red, all over like a hairy garment. And they called his name Esau.
And they called his name what?
Esau.
Right. And they called his name Esau. You got your blue letter? Right. And they called his name Esau. My question is, what does that word mean? What does Esau mean?
What does Esau mean?
Let's see what Google got to say. Let's see what the blue letter Bible has to say.
In the Bible, the elder of the 20 sons of Isaac was blessed. So his birthright to his brother. And was tricked out of his father.
If you look it up, it's going to give you who Esau is.
Yeah.
You got to look at the etymology of the word. What does that word mean? The meaning of the word.
The definition it gave me was rough.
Rough,
Mine says hairy.
hairy.
What does
Yeah, now we getting what kind of manner of person he is, right?
Oh, it says fighting man, fit, fly, beast.
Beast.
Love it.
Oh man. What does the blue letter say? What does it say?
It says, Esau, Harry, eldest son of Isaac and Rebekah, twin brother of Jacob.
Mm-hmm. Hairy.
In the original sense of handling, rough.
Mm-hmm.
That's really it. That's it.
Right. The sense of handling rough, right? Right, so it was a rough, hairy baby that came out,
Red.
right? We don't get to the red part yet. We didn't get there yet. Don't rush to the red. And sometimes people put the red on there, the red didn't come yet. That description didn't come yet. It's going to come later when his name is changed, right? Right, so his rough, hairy demeanor, he didn't look normal, like how a baby's supposed to come out. He came out looking different, okay? So the one, and they call him Esau because of the way he looked, go ahead.
It says that when it says hairy, it means it's worrying and somewhat frightening.
What? Hairy means what?
That when it says it's talking about hairy, it's saying that he looks frightening.
They do that in there. You can't do everything you see on Google. That doesn't make any sense. He's actually hairy. Hairy means hairy. That's what it means. Fuzzy. Right? That's what you get out of it. I don't know why they try to make things all extra poetic. It ain't that poetic. Right? He came out rough. They called him Esau. When he saw the baby, he said, look at this baby. Look all rough and hairy. He called it Esau. Right? We know later on that about his hue of his skin and stuff like that. We'll talk about that in a minute. Right? But we know how he came out. All right. Go ahead. Let's read on.
And the furnace came out red, all over like a hairy garment.
Right. So he was red. He was hairy. Right. All over like a hairy garment. He was rough. That's why they called him Esau. Go ahead.
As a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau.
Right. And he said the hair was like a garment. The hair was like you was wearing clothes. Right? So he had little hairs all over him. Go ahead.
And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob.
Mm-hmm.
And Isaac was 80 years old when she bare them.
Right, so, and his hand took hold of Esau's heel. What does that represent? Why was, huh? What does that represent? The what? Say it again? The end? Right, that's even, you gotta break that down for me. You got me a parable or something? What does that mean?
Back to back.
It's gonna be the
End of the world. Jacob follows after.
Right, that I come after, right? Right, that I come after. How do we know that? Let's get 2 Ezra 6 and verse 9. How do we know this? How do we know what this means? We're not going to make it up, for it is written. Start with 7.
The book of
2 Ezra 6 and verse 7. Go ahead.
The book of 2 Ezra chapter 6 verse 7. Red Apocrypha, page 20. Then answered I and said, what shall be the parting asunder of times? Or when shall be the end of the first, and the beginning of it that followeth?
Right, so he's talking about the worlds. When you read it from the first verse, he's talking about time period. He said, how do we know when we're going from one world to the next? Or from the evil world to the righteous world? How do we know? What's the sign? Ask him for a sign. Go ahead.
Or when shall be the end of the first, and the beginning of it that followeth?
Uh-huh.
And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau.
Right.
For Esau is the end of the world.
So what does it mean when he held his ankle, his heel? That Esau is the end of the world. Esau represents the end of the evil world. The end of the wicked kingdom is Esau. Read on.
For Esau is the end of the world.
Right.
And Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth.
Right. And Jacob is the next. Right. Zygor.
I have another question. Does it also mean does Jacob's hand holding on to Esau's heel also represent Jacob taking Esau down?
Right. It's gonna put him down. It's ends. It's bookends. Right. Because two kings can't sit on the same throne, huh? One has to be what? Overthrown for the next one to sit. So Esau has to be brought down. But ultimately, the Most High is going to bring Esau down and set Jacob up. Right? Let's read. Yeah.
Verse 10. The hand of man is betwixt the heel and the hand. Other question Ezra asked thou not. I answered then, said, O Most High, O Lord, that bearest rule, if I have found favor in thy sight, I beseech thee, show thy servant the end of thy tokens, whereof thou showedst me part the last night. So he answered and said unto me, stand up upon thy feet, and hear a mighty sound, voice. And it shall be as it were a great motion, but the place where thou standest shall not be moved. And therefore, when it speaketh, be not afraid, for the word is of the end,
Right?
and the foundation of the earth is understood.
Right?
And why? Because the speech of these things trembleth and is moved. For it knoweth that the end of these things must be changed.
Right?
And it happened that when I heard it, I stood up upon my feet and hearkened, and behold, there was a voice that spake, and the sound of it was like the sound of many waters. And it said, Behold, the days come that I will begin to draw nigh and to visit them that dwell upon the earth,
Go ahead.
and will begin to make inquisition of them what they be that have hurt unjustly with their unrighteousness. And when the affliction of Zion shall be fulfilled,
Go ahead.
and when the world that shall begin to vanish away
That shall do what?
shall begin to vanish away.
So now he's giving them a whole understanding here of how these things are going to come to pass. He says it's not going to happen overnight. He said the world that's here now shall begin to vanish away. Right? Meaning that it starts to fall apart. It starts to have so many problems. They don't have control of things the way they used to. We're seeing the world start to vanish away. That's how we know that this prophecy is, we're in the time where this prophecy is getting ready to come to pass. Because it's starting to vanish. The control, the economy, everything that they have is starting to break down. Right? Read on. Who's visiting? He said, well, I'm going to visit them. Who's visiting?
Shower.
The Most High, right? He said his angels, he's visiting the earth. That's what causes these things to happen. That's what causes the global warming. That's what causes the economic downturn. That's what causing the shortage of, the labor shortage, right? Because they said there'll be no work in Egypt in these last days.
Wow.
Right? Go ahead.
And when the world that shall begin to vanish away shall be finished, then will I show these tokens. The book shall be opened before the firmament, and they shall see all together.
Right?
And the children of a year old shall speak with their voice. The women with child shall bring forth untimely children of 3 or 4 months old, and they shall live and be raised up. And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, and full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty.
They shall be found what?
Found empty.
Right, so we know, listen, all the prophecies are there of these end times. That you're going to know, okay, these are the things that have to come to pass. Right? Things that will fall are not going to be empty. Right? People are going to have what? Premature children. Right? But they're going to live. They're not going to die. They're going to live. But it's going to be a time where all the courses of life is kind of just wild and off course. Right? That's how these end days are going to be. That's why we prepare for these end days. That's why these prophecies are put here. For us to know when we see these things coming to pass, we know what this is. Right? We know that this is the end of that first world. This is the end, and we're ushering in the new world. The world ran by who? Jacob. Right? Jacob is the new world. Esau is the end of this old world. Read on.
Verse 23. And the trumpet shall give a sound, which when every man heareth, they shall be suddenly afraid. At that time shall friends fight one against another.
Wait, friends shall do what?
At that time shall friends fight one against another.
Why would friends fight one against another? Why would two friends all of a sudden start fighting?
The belief may be different.
Yeah.
Different beliefs.
Different what?
Different
Fighting for
beliefs.
bread? No. Food? No.
Fight for power.
For power? For what? Different beliefs, different understanding, right? Divisions,
I'll give you my example. Are you vaccinated or are you not vaccinated?
right? People fighting because they're vaccinated, not
People are fighting over
vaccinated.
that.
Did you get the jab or not? They want to go to rumble with you over it?
Yeah.
Right? It all boils back to beliefs and understanding. They fight. Friends are going to fight. There's going to be all kind of issues. You're not gonna, the dividing line, just like in the time of Moses, right? You had friends, some was on one side of that line, some was on the other. But when he drew that line in the sand, and he told the Levites, gird your swords, it was a bloodbath. Right? This is what happening in these last days. All right, go ahead.
At that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies.
Right?
And the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein.
Mm-hmm.
The springs of the fountains shall stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run.
Mm-hmm.
Whosoever remaineth from all these that I have told thee shall escape.
Shall what?
Shall
If
escape.
you make it through all this, you have escaped. Go ahead.
And see my salvation.
And you're going to see my salvation. Go ahead.
And the end of the world.
And the end of what?
And the end of the world.
By the end of what?
And the end of your world.
Your world.
Slack
Right? Not the world.
Right.
Your world. Right? So they that escape is going to see this, and they're going to see the end of your world. This world. Okay? This world has to end. Does everybody understand that? So these babies being born out of Rebecca is giving us the ends of this world and the beginning of the world to come. Hallelujah? Hallelujah. Let's go back to Genesis. So it's going to get worse before it get better. Everybody understand that? All right. So don't be surprised when you go to the Walmart, right, and the door is locked. You say, well, I think the door is broken because it won't open up. It means there's nothing in there. All right? Let's read.
Verse 26. And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel,
Uh-huh.
and his name was called Jacob.
Mm-hmm.
And Isaac was 80 years old when she bare them. And the sons grew, and the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field.
A man of what?
A man of the field.
So now we getting more attributes about Esau. We got that he's red, we got that he's rough, right? We got that he's hairy, and now we got he's a man of the field, right? He's out there in the he got his fatigues on, or his and he's crouched down behind some stone trying to kill something, right? He's still doing that to this day. National Geographic, that's his channel. Right? He got deer. He rubs himself down with deer pee so they don't smell him. And he sits there with his gun and he's waiting to shoot Bambi between the eyes. He's not even going to eat him. He just want to kill him. Right? You saw that what kind of manner of person that he is. Right? We'll kill Bambi, but we'll feel bad about it. Right? But then we'll eat him. Right? Because you got to eat. Right? We'll kill him. We'll feel bad. Right? You might even say a couple words. And then we're going to skin him and eat him. Right? He'll kill him, feel great, rub his blood around, and put him up on the wall. Right? To see what he has done. Right? They mount him on the wall somewhere and say, yeah, that was a good kill. Yeah, look at that bear. The bear's on this wall. Who was that? Larry the Lion? What was it, the lion that he killed? And they was on Esau's case about that. So he could mount the lion on the wall that he killed. Right? They're killing out all the elephants to get the tusks out of them so they can wear the tusk around their neck. Right? That's the manner of person that he is. So when you look at the scriptures, there's a lot more attributes of Esau to figure out who he is than his skin complexion. It goes way deeper than that. Right? His skin complexion is just one small part of his identity. Right? We're going to see him through his works, through what he's doing on the earth, through his customs. Right? He's that wild man in the field. Now he knows how deep the rabbit hole goes. He goes and searched it out. Right? Under the ground and searching out what weasels are doing. Right? and the mating practices of frogs and things. He can tell you these things. We would never know. We didn't care, right? Whatever the frogs do when they go on the side, whatever, right? He knows exactly the mating call of the frog. Right? Read on.
And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter,
Mm-hmm.
a man of the field.
Right?
And Jacob was a plain man, dwelling in tents.
So now Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents. So now what does the word Jacob mean? In the Hebrew, it's the Iqua. Right? Or Yaakov, if you speak to modern people. But what does that word mean? Supplanter. Right? What does it mean to supplant someone? Trick or get over. So he dwelleth at home, and he's always trying to get over. Who does that represent?
Us.
Majority of our people. Always trying to get over, and always home chilling. Right? Right? Watching MTV Cribs, right? Trying to get over. On the system, got an idea, got a plan, scheme. No, I figured it out. This is what we're going to do. So Jacob, man, you better cut it out. Right? That's why the Most High changed our names. We had to come out of that, right? Because we over there trying to supplant everything, trying to figure everything out. Right? Let's read.
And Jacob was a plain man, dwelling in tents.
Mm-hmm.
And Isaac loved Esau, because he did eat of his venison. Venison.
Right, so I go and talk about the deer meat. I always hunting deer. Venison is deer meat. All the deer family, elk, all those animals of the deer family, which you can eat. Right? That is